he was relatively young, evidently, whenever they throwed him in that pit and sold him into slavery. So he had, I think by that time, he had took a wife down in Egypt and had 2 boys of his own. So that's been quite a few years, you know.
Yeah.
And so whenever they went down there for food, they had to talk to Joseph, and they didn't recognize him, but Joseph recognized them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, and you.
Well, it's like the kingdoms. Revelation chapter 17
You found him a
says
pass.
there are 7 kings.
Bible lesson.
5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other is not yet cometh. Has not yet cometh, and when he cometh, he must continue for a short space. So, what was that 7th king? And it also mentioned about 10 people that had power as kings, but had no kingdom of their own. But they give their power to the beast that is not, but is. I read something in a book here a while back that claimed that the Roman papacy from the year of 600 AD to 1800 AD was considered to be a world power, a world kingdom. So I've often wondered if that 7th king has already come, and are we where are we at in that layout that is described in that part of Revelations? Because I think it's in the first part of 17 or it's in 16, one of the two, where this angel is talking to John, and the angel tells John, ask him, why do you marvel? And the angel told John, said, I'll explain the 7 heads, the 10 horns and the 7 heads. And he said the 7 heads are 7 hills that Babylon harlot sits on. And the only place in the world I know of that was built on 7 hills is Rome, Italy. And then think of the dress, description of the dress that the Babylonian harlot, the color of her dress as described in Revelation, and think about the color of the Roman Catholic papacy robe and his entourage. But it's like the Bible said, God raises up kingdoms and he takes kingdoms down.
Yeah, and then what are you going to do with Israel, see? All this time. And then we're doing all this stuff and talking all this stuff about everything. And nobody's talking about Israel, and you still got Israel, and everybody wants to say, well, we don't.
But there's one thing mentioned in the Bible that has not come to pass yet, and that is all the Israelites returning to Israel. That hasn't come to pass yet. And
but that the desire is there, because I know a lot of people that if they could have what they wanted right now, it would be back in Israel.
I think that the way the anti-Semitic attitude of people all over the world is increasing, and I think before too many years you're going to see a lot of Israelites or Jews going back to Israel.
Yeah.
They're don't worry. If God said, like God said, if I say it, it's done. Of course, it may take 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. It's like whenever God told his prophet to prophesy about Israel spending 70 weeks in captivity. Well, Israel spent 490 years in captivity. Each day of each week was 7 years. 7 times 70 is 490. And
like somebody says, we keep looking at things the way, how do you say, what is it called? I'm trying to think of the right word. In other words, we look at things, and, you know, God looks at things as a, look how God looks at things. And I don't know, but somebody says, you know, in the end times, like you're talking about, America's not even mentioned. It doesn't come up.
no,
And so you say, well, what are you talking about? Well, what if the focus all of a sudden, like you say the other day when you were talking about, they would surround Israel, and it would look like everything's over with.
yeah,
And so, in other words, if we don't watch it, you know, for what, years, we've been so-called the leaders, the whatever, you know, I've started to say the Northern Hemisphere or whatever. And you know, one of the things they talk about China is that China, for whatever reason, and you think about, well, why would they want that? China wants to be, they say China wants to be the largest influencer in the world. He said, what are you talking about? They want to conquer you? I don't know so much they want to conquer us or be such a, right now, look how much influence they are. What is it? You said something the other day about all the stuff that comes from China.
yeah.
Well, you know, are we not understanding? That's influencing us. You know, with the chips on the doggone cars.
Yeah.
All of a sudden they had to pass new things because, man, we just kind of floated into that thing, and then all of a sudden this happened, that happened, and we're just left holding the bag. I heard about so many stories about vehicles just being in lots.
Yeah, because they
Ready
didn't
to go
have,
'cause
they didn't have the chips to finish them out with.
yeah. And I understand they're talking about, well, that's another deal, man. Now they're gonna have electric, and yeah, I think they will. But the deal about it is electric vehicles. Somebody said the grid, even the reality of the grid. Now see, you talk about, what is it you talked about the other day, man, where it knocked out some of the power over for something got knocked out for a while, or the power.
Yeah.
Just think about, man, we're not even stopping thinking about the kind of drain, if that's the right word, or pull on the grid. You know, I mean, you guys ran into it last winter. All of a sudden, it's kind of like there wasn't enough backup for this thing when it got locked down during the winter.
Yeah.
Although you said you didn't experience so much, but evidently there wasn't in other places there weren't things in place.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know somebody the other day. Just for example, the doggone what is it? Backup generator. And you wouldn't think this. I mean, those things are several $100s.
About I think you can get I think about the biggest one I've ever seen in that Generac home backup generator system is 22 kW. I think that's 22,000 kilowatts.
How much you think that runs?
I think a 10 kW or is it 100 kW kilowatt generator is supposed to run 100 watt bulbs. Light up 100 watt bulbs.
I mean, do you think that's?
Or it's either a 10 kW.
I mean, do you think that's $5,000, $10,000?
No, you can buy. You can buy
$2,199.
Huh?
Brand new, $2,199. Oh wait.
2,100.
No, wait, 22. Go ahead.
2,200.
Yeah, about 2,000.
Yeah. Well, I saw somebody the other day because of their quote financial situation they got themselves.
Oh no,
into.
wait. Here's a 21 for 5,747.
Yeah, I saw somebody the other day because of the financial situation they put themselves into. They just quit their job, and so they needed money, and they had a backup generator, and I think they sold it to somebody for $200 or $300.
Yeah, this is
And you know, it's just like you say, well, this and that, and the thing about it is, people, they just make bad decisions.
Yeah.
And when they do, all of a sudden, like you say, you're probably, and people don't realize this, you know, that you're probably least affected by all this baloney that goes on. I mean, I saw it. Where was it? I was in downtown Tulsa Tuesday, and I couldn't believe the lack of activity, if that's the right word, going on in the downtown area. Just not anything going on. You're not seeing it. And why is that? I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on, but there's a lot of construction. There's a lot of things going on. And you know, they got this little whatever, it's supposed to be the place to be now, is downtown, right? I mean, you'd have to whip me and I think tie me and everything else to make me live down there. I just wouldn't, I just don't care anything for it. But excuse me, what do you call them, condominiums and lofts and whatever. The place I used to drive charter buses for a man that inherited his father's GMC dealership. He sold all the vehicles, and then he ran buses out of that facility for a while. I forgot how many years, but anyway, finally he sold it, and he was already 80, almost 90 years old. Anyway, they took that facility that was, you know, where you went up into the dealership and everything, and made lofts in it, where you drove up to your loft with the thing. Well, you know, that has to be whatever that is, financial or whatever. What are those people working for? In other words, are they working for financial situations? And I don't know how many. Every once in a while, man, you just hear about one of these places just goes belly up. I guess is my point. All of a sudden, it just went belly up.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, it's like they say about Donald Trump.
We made it, man. We're kicking it.
They say if Donald Trump paid what he owes, that he would either break even or he wouldn't have enough money to pay all his debts off. One of the two. And well, Donald Trump said it himself. He borrows money from other people. He likes to use other people's money. And Donald Trump said that himself on public TV.
Yeah. And the other side of it, they like him using their money.
Yeah.
I don't care what that governor in New York says. Well, they're going to go through all that and find out. It don't make no difference what I'm not going to act like I know anything about it, but you don't tell a bank nothing. You don't tell. Is it? Well, I want to ask you this question, Mr. Trump. Blah blah blah. Is this what the bank looks at your stuff just like you said about all those cattle? They came out and looked at it.
Yeah.
They didn't say, Mr. Reeves, I understand that you're have been around all these cattle and everything. Can you give us just over the phone? Can you just tell us what you know?
No, the bank. The bank had their person come out and meet with me and go look for himself.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he went back to the bank and reported to the bank.
And I don't care what you said. Yeah, but you know, you were quoted or said or blah blah blah. It don't make no difference, does it? They're going to tell you. They're going to tell you. And then the bottom line, even after that, yeah, they told you, and then they still got the choice. There ain't nobody had a gun to their head and said, you better loan Donald Trump the X amount of money. You know, it's just you know what it is? It's people that do not know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And they've gotten into positions of how do you say? They think they're in positions of authority, and the reality of it is, you know, just like somebody said, man, you get a depression, like you said. They were jumping out the doggone windows.
Yeah.
They weren't jumping out the windows because the government, something happened to the government. They're jumping out the windows because the banks went under.
That's the reason that a lot of those people back in the Depression, whenever the stock market crash happened, they were rich when they went to bed and they were poor when they woke up, and they couldn't deal with it. And so they just jumped out the window and killed themselves.
When did we?
Well, it's like people today. You got teenagers and adults today that can't deal with the situation that they find themselves in, so they take a pistol and put it to their head and pull the trigger.
And the sad thing about it is, they think, well, it's over now. No, it's not over. You went into another, what do you want to, I started to say phase. You went into another
Another life.
Yes.
When did we leave the Bible?
We're still there.
Okay.
We're still there, man. We're just on the, we're, you know, we're still there, man.
Whenever you die in this, when you die in this world, the only thing that dies about you is your tabernacle or your tent or your body, which houses the soul. And if I remember reading correctly, I believe everybody has got an earnest of the Spirit.
Oh, yeah.
And an earnest is a down payment. If I remember my dictionary definitions properly.
Yeah.
Because I remember Mac whenever he was on these doing these big construction jobs as superintendent. These companies would pay so much money and to have this construction job started, and they called it the earnest. Or you buy a house, you put so much money down, and it was earnest payment, they called it.